Today, I'm diving deep into the shocking case of Timothy Busfield and the serious charges against him. Can I uncover the truth behind these allegations? Actor and television director Timothy Busfield has been formally indicted on multiple felony charges related to alleged child sexual abuse, following a grand jury decision in New Mexico. The indictment marks a significant development in a case that has drawn national attention due to Busfield's long career in the entertainment industry and the seriousness of the allegations. According to the Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office, Busfield, who is 68 years old, was indicted on 4 counts of criminal sexual contact of a child. The indictment was handed down by a grand jury on Friday, February 6. Prosecutors confirmed that the case is expected to proceed through the judicial system and move toward trial. In a statement released by the District Attorney's Office, Bernalillo County District Attorney Sam Bregman emphasized that the indictment represents a step in the legal process, not a determination of guilt. As with all criminal proceedings, Mr. Busfield is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty in a court of law, Bregman said. This case will proceed through the judicial process and is expected to move forward to trial. The District Attorney's Office also confirmed that the case will be prosecuted by its Special Victims Unit, a division that handles cases involving crimes against children and other vulnerable individuals. Prosecutors reiterated that protecting minors and ensuring accountability remain central priorities. The Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office remains committed to doing everything possible to protect children and ensure justice for victims, the office stated. Background of the allegations: the charges stem from allegations involving a child actor who was reportedly working on a production where Busfield was present in a professional capacity. According to an affidavit from the Albuquerque Police Department, investigators allege that inappropriate contact occurred over an extended period, beginning in late 2022 and continuing into early 2024. Law enforcement officials have not publicly identified the alleged victim, consistent with standard practices in cases involving minors. Court documents indicate that the investigation began after concerns were reported to authorities, prompting interviews, evidence collection, and a review of conduct that allegedly occurred during on-set interactions. The Albuquerque Police Department affidavit, which became public earlier this year, outlines the timeline of the alleged incidents and the steps taken during the investigation. Investigators interviewed multiple individuals and gathered information related to Busfield's interactions with children during filming. During an interview with police, Busfield denied that there was anything inappropriate about his behavior. According to the criminal complaint, he told investigators that his conduct was professional and that there was nothing weird about his interactions with children on set. Arrest warrant and surrender. In January, a judge approved an arrest warrant related to the charges. Days later, Busfield voluntarily surrendered himself to law enforcement in New Mexico on January 13. Following his surrender, his attorney, Larry Stein, released a statement to multiple media outlets asserting his client's innocence and disputing the allegations. He didn't do anything wrong, Stein said in a statement to NBC News. These accusations are false. An investigator from an independent law firm found no wrongdoing. Stein has maintained that the evidence does not support the claims, and that Busfield intends to fight the charges in court. Busfield's public response. Busfield has also personally denied the allegations. In a video statement shared publicly last month, he described the accusations as false and said he plans to contest them through the legal system. "They're horrible," Busfield said in the video. "They're all lies, and I did not do anything to those children. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to fight it with a great team, and I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong." The video was widely circulated after being shared by multiple media outlets, further amplifying public interest in the case. Professional fallout. Since news of the arrest warrant became public, Busfield has experienced professional consequences. His talent agency, Innovative Artists, confirmed that he is no longer represented by the firm. The agency did not provide additional details regarding its decision, but such moves are not uncommon when clients face serious criminal allegations. Busfield's career spans decades, with credits as an actor, director, and producer in television and film. The indictment has cast uncertainty over any future professional projects as the legal proceedings continue. Family response and support. Busfield's wife, actress Melissa Gilbert, has stood by him during the legal proceedings. The couple has been married since 2013. While they do not share biological children together, both have children from previous relationships. In a statement released by her representative on January 13, Gilbert addressed the situation indirectly, focusing on family support and privacy. During this period, her focus is on supporting and caring for their very large family as they navigate this moment, the statement read. Melissa stands with and supports her husband and will address the public at an appropriate time. We ask that their privacy be respected. Gilbert has not made additional public comments beyond the statement issued through her representative. Legal process and potential penalties. According to the Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office, if convicted on all 4 counts, Busfield could face up to 15 years in prison under New Mexico law. The specific sentence, if any, would be determined by a judge and would depend on multiple factors, including the outcome of the trial and applicable sentencing guidelines. District Attorney Sam Bregman addressed the seriousness of the charges during a press conference, underscoring his office's approach to cases involving allegations of abuse. Our office takes these types of charges very seriously, Bregman said. Just like every case we handle, our responsibility is to hold people accountable under the law. I have personally tried cases involving child abuse and sexual assault, and we treat them with the utmost seriousness. Bregman emphasized that no individual is above the law, and that each case is handled based on the evidence presented. Moving toward trial with the indictment now filed, the case enters the next phase of the judicial process. Pre-trial hearings, motions, and procedural steps are expected before a trial date is set. Prosecutors and defense attorneys will have the opportunity to present arguments, file motions, and prepare evidence. At this stage, no trial date has been publicly announced. Legal experts note that cases involving allegations of abuse often involve lengthy proceedings, due to the complexity of evidence and the sensitivity of testimony. Throughout the process, the court will continue to uphold the presumption of innocence afforded to defendants under the law. Conclusion. As the case moves forward, officials reiterate that the indictment represents an accusation, not a conviction. The outcome will ultimately be determined in court through the judicial process. The Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office has stated that it remains focused on protecting children and ensuring justice, while Busfield and his legal team maintain that the allegations are false and that he will be cleared. The legal proceedings are ongoing, and further developments are expected as the case progresses. Court documents indicate that the investigation into Timothy Busfield's conduct unfolded over several months and involved multiple stages of review. According to filings referenced by law enforcement, investigators worked to corroborate timelines, interview witnesses, and evaluate the professional environment in which the alleged incidents occurred. The Albuquerque Police Department played a central role in the early stages of the investigation. Detectives reportedly conducted interviews with individuals connected to the production, including adults responsible for supervising minors on set. These interviews were part of a broader effort to understand the working conditions, boundaries, and protocols in place during filming. Authorities have stated that investigations involving allegations of misconduct toward minors are handled with heightened sensitivity. Procedures are designed to minimize harm to alleged victims while still ensuring that claims are thoroughly examined. This includes coordination between law enforcement, prosecutors, and specialized units trained to work on cases involving children. Officials have not disclosed specific investigative methods beyond what appears in public court documents, citing the ongoing nature of the case and the need to protect the privacy of those involved. The role of the grand jury. The indictment against Busfield was issued following a grand jury proceeding. In New Mexico, grand juries are used to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to bring formal charges against an individual. During a grand jury proceeding, prosecutors present evidence and testimony to a panel of citizens. The defense does not typically present its case at this stage. The grand jury's role is not to determine guilt or innocence, but to decide whether probable cause exists to support criminal charges. The decision to indict Busfield on 4 counts indicates that the grand jury concluded there was sufficient evidence for the case to move forward. Legal experts emphasize that an indictment does not represent a finding of guilt, but rather an authorization for the case to proceed to trial. District Attorney Sam Bregman referenced this process when addressing the public, reiterating that the judicial system will now determine the outcome. Special Victims Unit involvement. The Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office confirmed that the case will be prosecuted by its Special Victims Unit. This unit specializes in cases involving crimes against children, sexual assault, and domestic violence. Prosecutors within the unit receive specialized training to handle sensitive evidence, interview vulnerable individuals, and present cases involving complex emotional and psychological factors. The involvement of the Special Victims Unit underscores the seriousness with which the District Attorney's Office is treating the case. In public statements, the office has emphasized its responsibility to balance due process for the accused with protections for alleged victims. Officials have stated that each case is evaluated on its own merits and prosecuted based on the evidence. Defense strategy and legal position. Busfield's legal team has consistently maintained that the allegations against him are false. His attorney, Larry Stein, has indicated that the defense plans to challenge the prosecution's evidence and present its own findings in court. Stein has referenced an independent investigation conducted by a law firm, stating that it did not substantiate the claims made against his client. While details of that investigation have not been made public, the defense has suggested it will play a role in future court proceedings. Legal analysts note that defense strategies in cases of this nature often focus on questioning the credibility of allegations, examining inconsistencies in timelines, and presenting alternative interpretations of events. The defense may also seek to exclude certain evidence through pretrial motions. At this stage, no motions have been publicly ruled on, and the defense has not outlined its full legal strategy beyond public statements asserting Busfield's innocence. Media attention and public reaction. The case has attracted widespread media attention due to Busfield's public profile and long-standing career in television and film. News outlets across the country have reported on the indictment, arrest warrant, and subsequent developments. Public reaction has been mixed, with some expressing concern about the allegations and others emphasizing the importance of due process. Legal experts and advocacy groups have reiterated that allegations must be taken seriously, while also respecting the presumption of innocence. The coverage has also renewed broader conversations about child safety in the entertainment industry and the responsibility of production companies to maintain strict safeguards on set. Industry policies and child protection. In recent years, the entertainment industry has increased its focus on child protection policies. Productions involving minors are typically required to follow strict guidelines, including the presence of guardians, child welfare workers, and adherence to labor laws. While authorities have not commented on whether industry policies were violated in this case, experts note that allegations involving on-set behavior often lead to reviews of safety protocols and oversight practices. Advocacy organizations have emphasized the importance of clear boundaries, proper supervision, and reporting mechanisms to protect minors working in entertainment. Family and personal impact. As the legal process continues, the case has had personal implications for those involved. Busfield's wife, Melissa Gilbert, has publicly expressed her support for her husband through a statement issued by her representative. The statement emphasized family unity and privacy, noting that the couple is focused on caring for their blended family during this period. Gilbert has not spoken directly to the media, choosing instead to address the situation through her representative. Friends and colleagues have largely remained silent publicly, a common response in high-profile legal cases where proceedings are ongoing. Potential timeline and next steps. Following the indictment, the case is expected to move through a series of procedural steps. These may include arraignment, pretrial hearings, and motions filed by both the prosecution and defense. During pretrial proceedings, attorneys may argue over the admissibility of evidence, request dismissals of certain charges, or seek to limit what can be presented to a jury. These steps can take months, particularly in complex cases. Once a trial date is set, jury selection will take place, followed by opening statements, witness testimony, and closing arguments. The length of the trial will depend on the number of witnesses and the scope of evidence presented. Sentencing considerations. If Busfield were to be convicted, sentencing would be determined by the court based on New Mexico law. Factors considered during sentencing can include the nature of the offense, criminal history, and statutory guidelines. The district attorney's office has stated that the maximum potential sentence could be up to 15 years in prison. However, legal experts caution that sentencing outcomes can vary widely and depend on multiple legal factors. Emphasis on due process. Throughout the proceedings, officials have consistently emphasized the importance of due process. The presumption of innocence remains a cornerstone of the legal system, and Busfield retains the right to defend himself against the charges. District Attorney Bregman has reiterated that accountability applies to everyone equally under the law, regardless of public status or profession. "Our job is to hold people accountable," Bregman said during a press conference. We treat these cases with the seriousness they deserve, and the courts will determine the outcome. Closing context. As of now, the case against Timothy Busfield remains unresolved. The indictment represents a formal accusation, not a verdict. The legal process will continue to unfold in the months ahead, with further developments expected as the case moves closer to trial. Officials, legal experts, and advocates alike stress that the judicial system is designed to carefully examine evidence and testimony before reaching conclusions. For now, the case stands as a reminder of the complexity of legal proceedings involving serious allegations and the importance of allowing the courts to determine the facts.